Designer looks for less. Today on the Charleston Women podcast, our guest has been buying and selling designer brands for more than 20 years, and now she has curated everything for you. You can shop all of those designer looks as we sit down and talk to Jolie Luxury Consignment.
This is Charleston Women Podcast, where you can meet like-minded, strong, independent, professional, and inspiring local women. This is Charleston Women Podcast.
And now I would like to welcome Jolie Kaminski of Jolie Luxury Consignment to the Charleston Women Podcast. Jolie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Erin, for having me.
Yes, this is very exciting because I know our ladies listening, who doesn't want a little designer, a little, luxury in our closet? Let's just dive right in and tell me, what do you offer at the store? What kind of goodies do you have?
So it's a great question, and thank you for asking. We offer an array of different designers. Our high-end designers are Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Hermes, YSL, Dior, Dolce & Gabbana, and then we also go down to the middle of the road to like Tory Burch and Lily Pulitzer. So what makes us unique is that we are more of an upscale boutique as opposed to offering everything in some other, like in your mom and pop type of consignment store.
Okay, so what are we talking with pricing compared to like what you would pay retail for some of these designer pieces? What kind of deals can we get through you?
Well, it definitely pays to know someone. No, but it's a great question as well, because right now the retail market or the resale market is just really dynamic, because what companies like Chanel have done is that they have offered only one handbag and one small leather good to their pre-existing customers per month. So it made it very, very difficult to obtain these luxurious items to just anyone who's trying to come in and purchase them. They're trying to be like Hermes now. So with that being said, some of the bags you can get a deal on, but the ones that are no longer in existence, for example, we have like a mini flap caviar from 2018. What the person paid retail is not what you're going to pay for at resale now, because you can't get it anymore.
So deals really on some, but other like one of a kind prize pieces.
The unicorns of the world. Right.
I like that.
And so that becomes a little bit difficult sometimes when someone comes in and says to me, well, what did they pay for that? And I'm like, well, unfortunately, what they paid for it versus what we're selling is completely different. But for example, like a Louis Vuitton Speedy, like the bowling bag, those you can get for a great deal, like 30 to 40% off, depending on what year they were, whether or not they've got a strap for a bandolier. Everyone's into the crossbody right now. Like everyone loves the crossbody. So it just all depends, but you can get some really good deep discounts on these handbags. Where
do we find you? Where exactly are you in Mount Pleasant? You're in North Mount Pleasant.
Correct. I'm in the Mill Creek shopping mall where Lowe's Food and next to Sweet Frogs. Nice. Which is very dangerous because there's frozen yogurt all day long.
Right. A little frozen yogurt, a little luxury. Great day. Great afternoon.
Can't slip up your clothing. It's great.
Yeah. So you have been doing, I can just tell your expertise in talking to you for just a few minutes, but you have been buying and selling designer items for 20 years, correct? Was this just in your personal life that you kind of developed an eye for it and were able to turn things?
Correct. So I've been buying and selling for over 20 years alongside corporate. It was just my side hustle, if you will. And I just got really good at it. And luckily enough for me is that I've got friends that have worked for Chanel and Louis Vuitton. So if there was ever a shadow of a doubt whether or not something was authentic, I would turn it to them. But fortunate enough for me, I haven't really had to do that. But there's also different companies that you can pay for, like Real Authentication, Zico, Bababi. You can spend between $45 to $100 and some odd dollars getting things authenticated. So that way someone feels really confident in their purchases if need be. But I do offer money back guarantee. So if something is, not authentic, of course, people will get their money back. But I make sure I track down serial numbers and everything so people can feel confident purchasing with me.
Be part of the conversation surrounding Mount Pleasant. Sponsor the Mount Pleasant Podcast. Podcast marketing is the new, powerful way to brand your business and reach your customers. For more information, visit carolinapodcasts.com or call 843-345-7012.
You're listening to the Charleston Women Podcast.
You know, the women listening to the Charleston Women Podcast, of course, we like to shop. We like talking about your designer items, but I think a lot of people tune in because we love the stories that come behind these brands. And I think you are fascinating because you're another one of those that has just made a pivot in life, which is my favorite type of story because I think sometimes we all find ourselves places we never expected. So you were in corporate America, correct?
Correct.
What were you doing before the consignment store?
It's more like what I wasn't doing. So I'll just do a quick backstory. Growing up, I was a really strong honor student when it comes to science, biology, chemistry, and I went to school to become a pharmacist. And to my parents' dismay, I ended up not becoming a pharmacist. I ended up becoming a marketing major. So for years, I worked for Paycheck starting off fresh out of college. And then I worked in pharmaceutical sales, medical device sales, and worked my way up the corporate ladder. So it was a really dynamic journey for me working in corporate. But then at 43 years old, I had a baby. So for me, it was such a blessing because my husband and I have been married for some time. Yeah. That was definitely in our vision. And lo and behold, it came. So he's my why.
Yeah. So when you did that, I mean, we all know, those of us that are mothers, suddenly you reevaluate, everything. So were you living in Charleston before this, or did you move here recently?
So I moved 7 yeyears ago. I had a job transfer from New Jersey down to Charleston and live in Mount Pleasant, right around the corner from my store. Mm-hmm. So it's quite convenient for me.
Right. So what made you take that step and say, I'm done with corporate. I want to focus on family?
I think it was as a mom, just still nursing your child, having to send, that home and just traveling all over the place and not seeing your child as often in such a critical time in their life when they need you the most, when they're just an itty bitty. And postpartum, let's be frank here, postpartum set in. I was just severely upset. I felt detached from my son and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I just said, enough is enough. We're done with this. And it caused a fun rift in my marriage, but here we are, we're stronger than ever.
So you just said, that's it. I mean, was it just like one day, I'm not going back, I'm done. And when you made that decision, did you have any glimmering, hope of the consignment shop, or were you not there yet?
So about 20 some odd years ago, I had said to one of my close friends from New Jersey, I was like, I would love to, if I was ever done with corporate, to just open up a consignment shop. But wow. I was one of those people having immigrant parents who are also entrepreneurs that I always wanted, that I always made sure I saved enough for retirement and saved enough for a rainy day. So for me to ever actually exit corporate America, where, you get all those wonderful perks, was a big deal for me and for my family. Like, what are you doing? So I'm like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. So lo and behold, that's kind of what happened. I just decided I needed to up and leave corporate and open up this business. And I opened it right during COVID. So that was quite fun.
Wow. So what happened? Were you, being a brick and mortar, were you trying to sell stuff online for a while?
No, I mean, I do have an online presence, website, and I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but I just went into it nose first, and we opened up April 13th of last year. So people were still kind of wearing masks. People still do wear masks, but they were coming in kind of a little bit unsure, people don't want to really deal with shoes or clothing because the whole germophobia with COVID existed and still kind of exists in some arenas. But, no, I opened up and we just went, head first into everything. And it's been a really successful ride, thank God. And I have wonderful help and great support from the community and my family. I mean, at first it was tough, but they're finally like, okay, I get it now. But I still miss that corporate money. Don't get me wrong, because you never pay yourself. You're the last one that gets paid. Right.
Did you ever have that moment, as an entrepreneur, after you taken the leap, you open the store, did you think crap, what have I done? Because we know entrepreneurship is not like this. It's like up, down, up, down, up, down. So I'm sure you had some lows. And if you did, what would you say to someone who might be going through that right now? What got you to the other side?
I still have it every single day. Every day I look at the books and I'm like, oh gosh, rent is super high in North Mount Pleasant. Actually all over Mount Pleasant. So every day I'm like, oh crap, am I going to make rent? And fortunate enough for me, I've always been able to make rent, which is wonderful. But for those people that are doubting themselves, just, you know what, just put your best foot forward and just have your believe in yourself and your faith in your higher power to just keep on going forward and just get your name out there, network with as many people as you can. I mean, the one lesson that I learned in pharmaceutical sales way back in the day was it's all about touch points of continuity and your share of voice. So, you know what, one person may come in and they might not shop with you, but they might tell 2 or 3 other people about you. And it's all about leaving them with that lasting impression. You know, smile, be sincere, have integrity, and make sure you leave your brand, leave your mark.
Right.
So,
You were telling me before we started this interview that sometimes that really it shouldn't be that hard, but that we make things hard. You know, we get so much in our head and have that negative self-talk about what we can't do when really it just comes down to basics. You said, you know, build your dream, be kind, network, and you can find success.
Correct. That's so true. And it's been wonderful too, because during this process, I've been able to network with an amazing group of women. And now we have this women networking group where it's women, what do we call it? Women Empowering Network. Actually, we're meeting this upcoming Thursday, and we've just built from like 3 people up to like almost 60 now of women in the past 3 months that meet monthly to talk about best business practices and how we can help one another. And we network and we refer one another. Mm-hmm. So it does sound kind of incestuous that, well, we only help one another out, but it's all about branching out and helping the community as well. So this upcoming November, we're talking about doing a community outreach, and we're trying to figure out which one we want to do. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about us, it's about helping the community and serving the community as well. So it's just really exciting to give back.
I love that. Send me an invite for your next one. I would love to join you.
I will. It's going to be at Honey Hive next month.
Oh, fun. For sure.
Yeah.
Before we go, again, I love your story. You're so inspiring.
Thank you.
Let's go back to the fashion really quickly, because while I have you, I think this is an important question.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, if someone were to pop in and we're going to make an investment in that one luxury piece, you know, a starter item or a special treat, whatever it may be, what would you recommend? Like, what is a good, are you going to go for the shoes, the bag, the dress? What's some expert tips? You know, what's that investment that will have legs? I would imagine it would be a bag, no?
Most people would say a bag, but you know, a lot of these younger women that come in, they want the red bottoms. They go gaga for the sparkly red bottom Christian Louboutins, and they want that same piece because, you know, maybe they can only afford a couple $100. They can't afford, you know, several $100s. So it really depends. Some people are a bag, or I don't want to say a bag lady, but they love bags. Right. Some women just love the shoes, you know, and then the garments are just an added extra. And then we also have like unique upcycled Chanel buttons and Louis Vuitton buttons that are made into jewelry now. And they're like so cool. And they've just been selling like hotcakes.
That's cool.
So yeah. Good. So it's just all about what serves you, what moves you, and what makes you happy, you know, as far as whatever purchase that is.
I love it. Jolie, it has been such a joy to meet you today and connect. And I'm just so excited for your success and happy that you're a part of our community. Again, tell our listeners and our viewers where we can go to find you and shop.
Great. So thank you so much for your time. And I'm located Jolie Luxury Consignment Boutique, where you'll find luxury for less on Route 41 in North Mount Pleasant in the Mill Creek Shopping Center next to Sweet Frogs and Lowe's Food.
All right. And what is your Instagram handle? Because that's where I always see you. I love seeing all the stuff that you have on your videos.
Thank you. Likewise with your reels, Jolie at Jolie Luxury Consignment.
All right, Jolie, thank you for your time today. And this has been the Charleston Women Podcast with Jolie Luxury Consignment.
Thank you, Erin.
Thanks for spending time with Charleston Women Podcast. Please like us and follow us on whatever platform you're using to access Charleston Women Podcast.